guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanya, and if you're stopping by for the first time, I hope you'll consider subscribing. And if you're not stopping by for the first time, then thank you so much for your support. I thought I'd share with you today five things or reasons that I love Lux. I'm relatively new to the luxury world. Perhaps I've built my collection over the last 5 years. I know a lot of people have had luxury items since they were young adults, just out of their teens and all that sort of thing. I haven't had that luxury of being able to do that. And at the same time, I must admit, I never really thought about it. I always thought that luxury in these type of design houses, from which I now own bags and so on, like Louis Vuitton and Chanel and Dior and Balenciaga and what else do I have? Saint Laurent. You know, I always thought that they were completely and totally out of my reach. What I wanted to talk to you today is the 5 main things that I love about luxury and how luxury makes me feel. So number 1, I love the idea of its exclusivity. Now, these days, the exclusivity seems to be less than it used to be, or maybe it's all relative because now, you know, I have access to more money where I can approach a luxury item. But I love the idea of the exclusivity that having luxury gives you. Some people would see that as arrogance and elitism. I don't mean it to sound that way, because I know how hard I work to save up to buy one of these items. So for me, it's not elitist. It's just knowing that there is this element of exclusivity about it, and that really appeals to me. Number 2, for me, luxury represents the feel-good factor, and it represents reward. So as I just alluded to in my previous point, I like the idea that when I have saved up for something for a lengthy period of time, I then am able to go out and splurge on it. So at the end of last year, for example, I rewarded myself for getting through a particularly tough time by buying myself the YSL small pouch in the beige chevron with the gold hardware. And that was my reward, and that's luxury to me. Well, it is. So for me, having luxury and the way it makes me feel is related to that reward factor, or that feel-good factor, knowing that I've saved up for so long. Number 3, usually design houses or luxury designers will come up with some really interesting designs. Bags through to their clothing, through to their accessories, I don't mind. But there are some beautiful designs that a lot of these designers come up with, which I think are really appealing, and they stand out, and some of them are extremely way out there. Let's not forget that. But that's done for a reason. That's to draw attention to their name, their brand. So obviously, you know, they do that in order to attract attention. And then of course it has that ripple effect, because then all the other sort of mid-range brands underneath them will tend to emulate them, and then those under them, and then those under them. So, you know, things like Zara, brands like Michael Kors, Kate Spade, the other one, Tory Burch, even Oroton, our Australian, its version of Coach. Some Coach items, they tend to emulate a lot of their pieces on the main designer ones. So originally, it's the designers that come up with that, well, in most cases, that interesting design, which is then replicated. Number 4. Now, this one here will sound very interesting, or perhaps a little bit bizarre, but there is something about the smell of luxury items that I just adore. I mean, leather is leather. Leather smells like leather. I remember in the beginning when I bought my Louis Vuitton Montaigne MM in empreinte leather, I actually showed it to a few close friends, and a friend of mine, he said, "Oh, it smells like shoes." I said, "Yeah, I know it does, but a good pair of shoes." And the reason for that is because it's leather. Leather smells like leather. But there is something about walking into a boutique or walking into one of these establishments that sell these items, and there's just this air and smell, the ambiance of the luxury, of the exclusivity of it all, and that's what appeals to me. So when I do use my luxury items, I pick it up, I hold it, smell it, and when that smell wears away, it's so sad, but there's still the memory of it. So yeah, that one's a bit strange. But that's what I love. One of the things I love about luxury. And the next thing I love about luxury is, I suppose, with a lot of these designer brands, is its history, the story behind it. So, you know, where Hermes first originated from, how Chanel first originated and the troubles and the difficulties that she came from to establish this incredible empire. The beginnings of Louis Vuitton, the beginnings of Goyard, you know, like all those brands. That's what appeals to me, because there is something behind it. It's almost like, you know, if you were to compare families from old money, you know, and compare them with the nouveau riche. So, oh my God, I sound so elitist. I don't mean to be, because believe me, I'm one of the least elitist people you would know. I just like my luxury bits. So it's the history behind everything. It's the history behind certain pieces, why certain pieces were created, what was the intention of them, what was the perspective that was taken, what were the original materials used, the fact that they were mostly made by hand, and to some extent, some still are. That appeals to me so much. In the end, are they really worth the price that many of these design houses charge? That's arguable. I can't say yes or no conclusively, but that's something that, you know, you can decide for yourselves. In cases where the craftsmanship is there and a craftsperson really has put that piece together without taking shortcuts, then yes, it's worth it. If you've seen the way they make shoes, I mean, you just look at the way they put those shoes together, especially the men's shoes, and you just think, yep, I would pay what they're asking simply because of that care that's taken. And then unfortunately, in this current climate where there is so much demand and the supply is just not there, the supply is trying to keep up with the demand and it's just not cutting it. That's the sad part about it all. So there you go, guys. That's my take on the 5 things I love about luxury items. And so let me know what you love about luxury items. Why do you love luxury items? Which luxury items do you love? How do they make you feel? And I look forward to reading your comments. So if anyone is interested in taking up this idea and sharing what you think, feel free to do so. So take care, everybody. God bless, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.